Thank you. Thank you. It's very nice to be here. I was in America recently. America, a conspiracy of optimism and teeth. I was walking around New York City and I decided to go to the planetarium, you know, just to see exactly where we are in terms of the universe. You sit down in this big chair and they take you traveling through space. And you leave Earth. And you travel throughout all the known galaxies. And you can't travel through the unknown ones, but you know they're there even though you don't know that they exist. And I came to the inescapable conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, that nobody knows we're here. Nobody knows we're here! We are a small blue ball on the outskirts of nowhere. Nobody knows we're here! So let's wreck the joint. If all the people who had ever lived ever were able to shout, "Hello!" at the same time, do you know what? No one would f***ing hear us! Nobody knows we're here! Life is difficult. Not only does nobody know we're here, nobody knows why we're here. It's very hard to find a type of music that accurately expresses what it's like to be alive, isn't it? You get stuff that's cool to dance to ride to punch people to. It's very hard to find something that says, yeah, that's what it's like to be alive. And recently, I've started to get into jazz. I know the word jazz and the word wanker are almost joined at the hip. And it's a special type of jazz. It's called free jazz, anti-jazz. It's lunatic music. Sounds like a fire in a pet shop. And I can't say that I understand it or can listen to it for very long, but there's something about it that says something to me about being alive. In New York City, I went for a walk, and I saw this club called the Village Vanguard. Tatty kind of canopy outside. That was an expensive lighting production there, wasn't it? Just tatty canopy outside. And I walked down the steps into this club. And the Village Vanguard is a very, very famous jazz club. A lot of the great recordings of jazz have been recorded there. I go down the steps. And then downstairs is the basement club. And all along the walls, there's these cool photographs of cool people. You know, jazz photography. It's all kind of sepia blue toned, and it's all kind of cigarette smoke and cool poses, yeah. Okay, Miles Davis, John Coltrane, yeah, it's cool, wow, yeah. Not like photographs of Irish musicians. I'm sitting there in my seat, and after a while the band shuffle on stage. And it's 4 black alphas. And the fact that they're black somehow makes it cool, you know? And I often wish I was something other than I was. Sometimes I wish I was black. I say to my friends, I want to be black. And they go, why? And I go, I don't know. I just think they're cool. I feel fly away and useless most of the time, but black people, they look solid. They look as if they know what they're about. You meet the odd daft one, but most of them are fine. It's the way they walk and the way they talk. And if you could travel back in time and say to white people in America 100 years ago, that 100 years from then, i.e. now, some people are going to think it was going to be cool to be black, they wouldn't have believed you. If you could travel back in time and speak to those people, what would you say? I always think that the first thing you'd say would be, because you'd be from the future. Other times then, I wish I was Jewish. You know? My friends go, why? And I go, I don't know. They just seem so complicated. There's always documentaries on the telly about them. I didn't know that a lot of people wish that they were Irish. You know, the English people especially. Oh, I'd love to be Irish. And I say, why? And they go, I don't know. People expect you to be drunk. You've travelled the world building things, sleeping in cement mixers. It's a mighty life you have. So I'm watching these 4 black guys come onto the stage, right? And they each get behind their instruments. And one, the owl's that, he kind of shuffles up to the microphone. And he doesn't run on like these new pop sensations going, love me, love me, love me. He just shuffles up. Doesn't care if you love him or not. He's got beautiful, beautiful deep black skin and lovely white hair. Looks like a pint of Guinness. And he comes up to the microphone and he goes,
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. The man is back on the phone, the vibe, and the vibe, and the phone, the 77 is up to some jazz. We're gonna play some songs to you this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Before we do, we just want to introduce you to the members of the band. Over here on the bass, we got the bass and the bass and Jason against Alabama, 9 minutes long, and Duke Ellington, and his sister Sue in the back of the car with this white lady. There was a man banging on the door. I said, stop doing that to her. I said, I'm not doing anything to her. She's doing it all to me. We're going to do a song for you now called Paris in Springtime. I hope you like it.
and they start. And the beautiful thing about when they start, you think you understand, because they're playing the same tune. But then they start doing their solos, and you're just lost. And in the solo in jazz, you can do whatever you want. The less sense it makes, the better. It's like letting a child run out in the field. As long as he makes it back to the bus, everything's grand. So the first to go was the drummer. And the drummer and on and on for about the duration of Lent. Then, at some unknown secret signal, the other members join in. Then somebody else gets to do a solo, and this time it was the bass player. Bass player. He sounded like somebody who was trying to remember a tune, and every time he got two notes that went together, he went, ah, no, that's not it. Last but not least was the saxophone player. Now, I have never in my life heard a sound like this coming out of a saxophone. I have seen Bruce Springsteen videos. I know what saxophones are supposed to sound like. I was completely unprepared for this aural sodomy. Without a word of warning, saxophone player starts. There's blood coming out of his eyes. He puts down the saxophone, starts making those noises with his mouth. The only other time in my life where I'd heard a noise like that was from a donkey in distress. I was living on the Aran Islands at the time. The Aran Islands are a small cluster of rocks off the western coast of Ireland. And I started going out with this island girl. Two of us were 18. She wasn't used to men like me. She was used to big, huge, rough fishermen. Massive calluses on their hands, hooks stuck in their faces. Young fellas who'd been lifting boats from the age of 2.5. And I came into her life, this East Coast poet. Never did a day's work in his life. I get blisters pointing. We started going out together. You know, I remember one evening, this particular evening, we were walking home. Walking a bit, well, to call it a road would be too much. We were walking somewhere where other people had walked before. We were holding hands. I was asking her not to squeeze so fucking tightly. Big old full moon, beautiful stars up in the sky. The Atlantic Ocean crashing off the rocks on one side of the island, creeping up the shingle-filled beach on the other. The lights of mainland Ireland, Connemara, from Rossmuck to Carna, over there across the water. The big lights looking like massive cigarettes. Walking home. Beautiful. And all of a sudden, we hear this noise. Now it's dark. I'm on an island. Accompanied by the sound of hooves. I thought it was the 4 fucking donkeys of the apocalypse. rolling round the corner. She was bigger than me, so I only stood behind her for a moment just to see what was going on. Next, right, this donkey flew past with that fucking saxophone player on his back. The donkey flew past, and as he ran past, we could see what was wrong with him. Now, he'd obviously earlier on in the day eaten a massive sheet of industrial plastic, like yards of the stuff, and he was now trying to pass it out, and it was cutting the whole off him, right? It's awful, right? But he ran around, and I was thinking, you know, how clever are donkeys? He should have known a bite or two into it, that it wasn't the greatest idea he'd ever had. So he started to go for a walk. Obviously, no, I'm grand, let's go for a little walk. And the cramps say, oh God, oh Mother Jesus. And by the time he came past us, the nostrils were flaring, the ears were back, half a yard of plastic out his arse. And initially we thought it was funny, you know? But then we said, he's in agony, the poor creature, and we realized, you know, we thought it was sad. But then we thought about it some more and said, oh no, but it is funny. So that saxophone thing, even though it was crude and everything, and someone said something to me about being alive, because being alive is like chaos, you know? And jazz like that isn't at all like Irish traditional music. No expense spared at the BBC, ladies and gentlemen. No. I don't know if many of you people here have ever been to a session, but a session, I'll describe what one is like to you now. They take part in a small pub, and it's heaving with people. You know, and there's musicians there playing diddly idle idle doodle idle doodle idle diddly idle idle doodle idle doodle idle. And it's a very organic thing. All the instruments are made out of dead animals. What happens is an animal dies. You run over. You flick out the nipples with a penknife. You put your fingers over the holes. You shove a head of lettuce up its arse to stop the air going out that way. With this hand, then you squeeze. And as the air is going past the nipples, you modulate a tune. Diddly idle idle doodle idle doodle idle. Diddly idle idle doodle idle doodle. And jazz is about one person getting up on their own and saying, I'm mad, take it or leave it. Irish traditional music is a lot more inclusive. So we're all fucking mad. So you were there, and the music would start off, and it'd be fleet of foot and quick. Diddly idle idle doodle idle doodle idle doodle diddly idle idle doodle idle doodle idle doodle. And there's people drinking, relaxing, unwinding, shaking their hair loose. Diddly idle idle doodle idle doodle idle doodle diddly idle idle doodle idle doodle idle doodle. Getting their drink into them, getting a bit drunk, trying to connect with the pagan past that we used to have before we became shackled to the pillar of misery. You were all fucking crucified in that joke. Diddly idle idle doodle idle doodle idle doodle. Unwinding, getting their drink into them. Come on, play that fucking thing as fast as you can. Diddly idle idle doodle. Letting the worries of the world drip off your shoulders. Picking up children. Little Fanta-filled fuckers. Picking them up by the ankles and just throwing them against the wall. Did you see the spin I put on that fella? Diddly idle 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 diddly idle 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 idle. And it's getting wild. And it's getting faster. And people aren't drinking on their own anymore. They're grabbing the pints and throwing them up into the roof. And everyone just goes, ah! The music's getting faster and faster. And the people, and the smoke, and the drink, and the music are all blending into one another. We become like this massive whirling dervish. And you're thinking, maybe tonight's the night. Maybe this is going to be the session to end all sessions. And you've read about it. And what's going to happen? What's going to happen is the bottom of the pub is going to start to vibrate. The music is spinning, the people are spinning. We're lovely people. We're lovely. Pub's going to start vibrating. It's going to take off the ground. And it's going to go up there. Up into space. I was in the planetarium and I found out that there's a place in the middle of the universe where everything in the universe is made. And it's a star. And we are the stuff that stars are made of. The pub is going to go up there. In the words of John F. Kennedy, we choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. Not because it's easy, because we're fucking drunk. And you can feel it. This is the night it's going to happen. We're going to go up into space. We're going to open the doors of the pub and walk out amongst the cosmos to become the space paddy bog people that nature intended us to be. We're going to buckle across the Milky Way on the back of Halley's Comet. Come here and I ride you now. You're the bull, you're the bull, you're the bull, you're the bull. You've me heart broke, Christy Brown. Sometimes I think you are me heart. It's a horse, Tato. It's a horse. You could do worse than spend an evening in the field with a tinker's daughter. Sure, he wouldn't be your father if he didn't bait you. Daily, and it's getting fast and wild and delirious, and you're thinking, tonight's the night. And then all of a sudden, everything has to stop. Because now it's time for a sad song. You know, and there's always a couple of foreigners in the pub who don't understand what's happening. Oh, yeah. Sounds like the Muslim call to prayer. All the workers from the local halal factory have left and are walking towards the pub. This is very unusual for this hour of the night. And she's there. The boats are gone, the fish are gone. Where are they gone? I don't know. And after this long, long lamentation, we can start the fast music again. But it's too late. The impetus has been removed. We are now tethered back on the ground. People are beginning to feel very self-conscious, especially about the huge lump of semi-concussed children up against the wall. A couple of the posh ones are phoning solicitors. But that's it, you know, a bit of sadness is okay. You know, I think the Celts were very melancholic people. Melancholy, it's a type of cabbage. For example, if you cut me open and had a look inside, it'd be raining. Wouldn't be raining very heavily now. Be enough to get you wet though. And that's the great thing about music, is that music allows you to become spirit, even just for a short little while. We have all these controversies in music nowadays. This whole MP3 thing. These high-powered music executives telling us to stop downloading music from the internet. You can't be having that stuff for free. We've got billionaires to protect. I say, f them. Let's keep doing it. And for every Napster and Popster they destroy, we'll employ another one of Donald Duck's nephews to take his place. These music executives are only trying to scare us. We have been through this before. I don't know if many of you remember the whole taping songs from the radio crisis. And how that nearly crippled the music industry. Us in our bedrooms with our lunchbox-shaped tape recorders, pressed up as close to the radio as physically possible, while at the same time getting everybody downstairs to please be quiet. One thumb over the play button, the other thumb over the record button. You have to use all your physical strength and coordination to get both buttons pressed down at the same time. There was some special Mickey spring-loaded device thing on the record button. If you got the timing wrong on that, you can dislocate your shoulder. Standing there, hovering over the two buttons, waiting for the DJ to shut the f*** up. And all for what? All for what? What was the fantastic music we wanted to download during the 80s? We weren't cool like kids from the 60s and the 70s and the 90s. Oh no! We were innocent. And we were naive. And we were vulnerable. And we made a millionaire out of Shakin' Stevens. Because, for those of you who don't know Shakin' Stevens, anybody not in it, he's kind of like a Welsh version of the Fonz. Because we thought songs about DIY were cool, didn't we? This old house don't need a window. That's right, Shakin'! The house doesn't need a window! The windows are grand! Shout it from the mountaintop, Shakin'! We're right behind you, you f***ing rebel, yeah! There's an old piano and they play it hot behind the That was the 80s, you know, and being a kid is okay. It's good to be vulnerable. You know, it's good to let yourself be ridiculed, because otherwise you're turned into a tight kind of person, you know. I was a very late comer. What I mean by that is that I was 16 and a half when I came for the first time. I know that's old, you know, there's young girls laughing in the front, oh, you fool. I'm sure there's men in here who've come 3 or 4 times their own body weight by the time they're 16 and a half. But let me tell you, the reason why it took me so long was because I had found masturbating incredibly boring. You know, until you come for the first time, you feel stupid. You know, and friends of mine in school said, go on, Tommy, keep it up. You know, it's an excellent way to relax. It's a fantastic way to spend a bath. So I'd go home from school determined, I'm going to do it this time. Go home and get into the bath and I'd start masturbating away, and my friends had told me that you have to be kind of erotic with yourself. You know, so I'd be there, oh, Tommy, you're lovely. Oh, Tommy, you're lovely, like this, you know. And after a few minutes, you feel stupid! Not doing this anymore! Shoving soap up my arse now, on the other hand, I could understand. You know, you don't have to rub the soap along the back of your leg for 20 minutes. Straight up and in there, way! We can dance if we want to, the night is young and so am I. So I'd like to tell you about my very, very first ever ejaculation. Like I said, 16 and a half. At the age of 16, I was sent away to a boarding school. 16 and a half, I came back to the town where I grew up, Navan in the County Meath. And I hooked up with the girl I was going out with before I was sent away. And it was a very, very highly charged evening. And I felt as if something, a kind of a veneer of mystery had been added onto my life. I wasn't like the other boys now, who'd always been in Navan. I had been away. And now I was back. And I would be going away again. Her parents went out for the evening. And she took me upstairs into her bedroom. And we both got undressed. And when I think of that evening now, ladies and gentlemen, 2 16-year-old people, I can never believe that I was with a naked girl of that age. You know, a naked 16-year-old girl. Sends a shiver up my spine even just thinking about it. If I knew then what I know now, I would have stayed longer. We'd still be there now, like 2 people on the bed. Don't get off the bed, we'll be old. So we're standing there, and it's, she kept her socks on for some strange reason, I don't know why. Both naked, and I've got an erection. And I'm trying to make her feel comfortable, you know, and it's very hard to make somebody feel comfortable when you've got an erection. But women have to understand that men sometimes get erections when we're not randy, you know? At all weird times of the day. You wake up first thing in the morning and you've got an erection. Why? I don't know. Sure, there might be an old vagina lying around the place somewhere. You can stick it into that. There was a few of them here last night. Where do they go? They're awful slippy customers when they get going. So I'm standing there naked, trying to make her feel comfortable, and all she can see is this thumping blood head in front of her. Right? We lie down on the bed. I lie down on my back. She straddles my thighs. She's looking at it, you know? And it's her first time with an erect penis, and she wants to learn how to do it properly, don't you? You want to learn how to do, you know, it's a big thing. Well, no, it's not a big thing, but it's... it's slender and elegant, but it still packs a punch. It's she wants to learn how to play it properly, you know? She knows she's going to be encountering many more in her life, and she wants to be a good girl. She wants to be a girl who knows how to treat this thing well. So she's looking at it, a bit intimidated, not really impressed by its beauty. Looking at it like that, you know. Doesn't know what to do, so she gives it a flick. I'm lying there, nothing. Starts to slap it, nothing. She pulls it down to one side, lets it... Nothing. Then it's like she has this ancestral memory, and she grabs a hold of it, like you would a trout. Right? And she starts doing this with a really serious look on her face. And I'm lying there on my back going, oh, for God's sake, if only we had some soap. If I could show her a thing or two. And then I get this unfamiliar sensation in my testicles, and I realize I'm about to come for the very first time. Now, I just finished reading a book in the boarding school called The Happy Hustler. Don't know if you know it. Happy Hustler is a short pornographic novel from America. And it's about this kid, man, who has a massive cock. And it's about how he travels around America, fucking everybody with his massive cock. Starts off like this. Even as a young child, I knew there was something different about me. We'd be getting changed in the showers. All the other boys would go, "Arr!" I'd go, what? They'd go, you've got a massive cock. So I decided to f everybody with my massive cock. Spunkity, spunkity, spunk from my massive cock. Okay? So that's what I was expecting. So I said to the girl, listen and listen to me quick, we don't have much time. Number one, when it comes out, don't touch it because it's roasting hot. Secondly, grip me tightly about the thighs. I was expecting a kind of high-velocity Kalashnikov type ejaculation. And I was worried about being propelled from underneath her body out the door and into the kitchen. Can you imagine my disappointment? I didn't so much come as my cock coughed. Sorry, I've got something stuck in my throat. You would have got more liquid from a camel retching in the desert. If you can imagine a mouse weeping, that's the type of liquid displacement we're talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been lovely people. Up the revolution. That's all from me. I hope you enjoyed my piece. Thank you very much. Good night. If you're an aspiring comedian, sketch writer or animator and want to enter the BBC New Comedy Awards, send a stamped address envelope to BBC New Comedy Awards 2002, BBC TV Centre, Wood Lane, London, W12 7RJ, or log on to our website www.bbc.co.uk/talent.